Hello everyone. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening to all. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 10D. My name is Anisha, and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Third World Conference on Information System for Business Management, ISBM 2024, Bangkok, Thailand. The third edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held yesterday in Bangkok, Thailand, and the virtual event is being held today and was held yesterday, that is 12th and 13th of September 2024. I hope you all will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. So in this session, we have 6 presentations, and each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for the question and answers. And on 10 minutes, I'll be raising a gentle reminder. There's also another request to all the participants to please stay connected with us till the closing of the session. And if you have any update or query, you can write it to me in the chat box. So just before we start, I'd like to introduce you all to the chair of the session. We have Dr. Chaya Jadhav. Dr. Chaya Jadhav is working as Associate Professor at Dr. D.Y. Patil Institute of Technology, Pune, India, having total teaching experience of 26 years. She has more than 25 research papers published in international journal and conferences. She has 4 copyright and 3 patents. She's working as a subject chairman at SPPU Pune and also a PhD guide at Pune University. So I welcome you to the session, ma'am.
Thank you, Anisha.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay.
Okay, so let's begin with this session now.
Yes. Yes. You can start.
Yeah. Yeah. So very first presenter is Peter Sabe with the paper title, A Strategy for Securing Local Data Access in Highly Secure Software. So Peter, if you're here in the session, you can start with your presentation. Well, I guess he's not present in this session. So moving on to the next presenter, we have Erna Francisca Angela Shihotang with the paper title, Comparison of Classification Algorithms to Analyze Important Factors on Customer Satisfaction, Case Study PT Shopee International Indonesia. You can begin with your paper.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen first.
Sure.
I already sent the request for sharing my screen.
Yeah, you have the option now. You
Yes.
can share it.
Okay, wait a minute. Can you see my share screen right now?
Yes, it's
Yes.
visible.
Yes. Visible. Visible.
Okay, well, thank you for the challenge. This research will include several parts. But firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Erna, and I'm gonna share my screen about a comparison of classification algorithms to analyze important factors on customer satisfaction. This is a study case using the Shopee International Indonesia data. And here there are a few authors such as Miss Jessica, Miss Priscilla, Miss Lina, I, myself, Erna, and Mr. Ed. So this research will include several parts such as an introduction that briefly describes the topic of the conducted research. And then we continue into the methodology, and finally will be the result section. Okay. Online shopping has become an increasingly popular activity in research. In recent years, the fact is online shopping behavior claimed the third position on the top internet usage in Indonesia. In each quarter of the last 3 years, Shopee often placed first with the highest number of downloads in app stores and also the Play Store. But on the contrary, Shopee often placed second terms of the number of visits. This problem is the reason that the research is being conducted. This research was conducted to find out what exactly affects the number of visits and use an e-commerce website or application through an assessment towards e-commerce users. So, following the number of visits to an e-commerce, customer satisfaction is an important factor that affects the customer traffic of e-commerce. Nine components of e-service quality play a part in increasing customer satisfaction when using e-commerce, which are fulfillment, responsiveness, availability, ease of use, assurance, website design, credibility, reliability, and accessibility, which you can see also on the screen. Fulfillment refers to the act of fulfilling a site's promises about the delivery and availability of items. Responsiveness refers to the effectiveness and swiftness of service toward the customers. And availability itself demands a site to perform its technical functions correctly. Ease of use, as its name suggests, refers to the ease of with which a site can be navigated. Assurance is about how the customers can trust the website and gain confidence in using it. And website design covers the appeal, and credibility refers to how a site would keep itself trustworthy and honest. Reliability is the level of maintenance of the site service and quality. Accessibility is the extent to which the website can fulfill the customer request, whether on the availability, where to buy a wide range of products, or the load time and speed of the site. Okay, so this paper also used some related works. Various analyses related to customer satisfaction analysis have been carried out on the previous works, such as we focus on the Najadat and Gupta and Dini and Huang and Rotter, which is they compare some methods like SVM, knife bias, decision tree, and Kanan, and they have an various accuracy using the where the accuracy tier from the highest to lowest from Najadat is the SVM, and then the nav bias as the lowest accuracy. And then from Gupta, we can see that the logistic regression is also the highest accuracy tier, and the SVM is the lowest accuracy tier. And finally, and at the Tini and Huang and Rotor, they have the same result. The SVM is the highest accuracy tier, but the naive Bayes is the lowest accuracy tier. So we go to the method of this research, the stages of research to determine important factors in the customer satisfaction. The data set used in this paper was obtained through a questionnaire. The questionnaire was made up to find the customer user certification towards the 9 factors, such as the fulfillment, responsiveness, availability, ease of use, assurance, website design, credibility, reliability, and accessibility. This research also limited to Indonesia's customers' activity using this platform such as Shopee, so there is no comparison identified from similar studies in other regions or countries. The questionnaire was made using Google Form, and finally, it collected about 324 responses from the questionnaire, and then the next step is pre-processed data before it was to be used in the next step. The first step from the pre-processing data the duplicate responses were searched, and then we remove it by the email address. And then this process was done using Microsoft Excel. The total of 5 duplicate data were then removed from the data set. Next, responses that contain empty values were removed as the empty data. As a result, a total of 318 responses were deemed valid. In this experiment, the knife bias classifier and support factor-machine algorithm which were used. This classification algorithm were implemented using the Python programming language and the scikit-learn machine learning library. Multiple steps were taken to implement both classification algorithm, and those the steps will be described briefly. So as the result in this research, a comparison between two classification algorithms, namely the knife bias and the support factor machine, was done using the same dataset. The classification process was done by training and testing the existing dataset with a ratio with 80% and 20%, and both algorithms were compared according to the performance of the metrics gained from the classification report, which are precision, recall, advanced score, and the accuracy. Before calculating the performance matrix, the confusion matrix must be calculated first. The confusion matrix is used to analyze how good a classifier is while making the predictions. And we can see from the table, I'm sorry, and we can see from the table 2 and the table 3, we can see the true positive, the true negative, the false positive, the false negative. True positive means refers to an outcome in which something is predicted as positive and the value is also positive. The true negative refers to an outcome in which something is predicted as negative and the value is also negative. But false negative refers to an outcome in which something is predicted as positive, but in actually its value is negative. False negative refers to an outcome in which something is predicted as negative, but in actuality, its value is positive. And based on the table above, it can be examined that support factor measurement is have better performance and accuracy compared to the naive bias. We can see here the results of the important feature in the naive bias and support factor measurement from the table 4. This research use permutation importance, which also has the same goal as the feature importance, which is to determine the important features that affect the mode. After the analysis has been done, according to the methodology part of this paper, the analyzed results can be seen in the table 4. As seen in the table, it is found that the three factors with the largest value are is the use, design, and the credibility, which I put on the table is obvious design and the credibility. These three factors deserve the highest scores among all the factors considered, which means that those features are indicated to affect customer satisfaction towards the e-commerce shop the most. As the conclusion, they started to really analyze the factors influencing the customer satisfaction in e-commerce, which is commendable given its relevance to Indonesia's growing online shopping market. This research is conducted to find out which service quality affects to the e-commerce Shopee and to the compare to two algorithms in the process, which are naive bias and support factor machine. The comparison between the two method algorithms, naive and SVM, offers valuable insight into the performance of different machine learning algorithms in predicting customer satisfaction. According to the conducted research, it can be concluded that support factor medicine has a higher score on performance metrics compared to the naive bias. Next, the most important factors that affect customer certification based on the 9 e-service qualities were found, which are ease of use, design, and credibility. Thus, from the results key of this research, Shopee can endeavor and to improve these top 3 factors to increase the customer certification, which will in turn affect their user traffic positively. It is hoped to journal can give an insight for Shopee to do improvement in research by using proven method by this research and implement these findings from this research. For further work, it will better to employ the different data collection methods so we minimize self-selection bias, such secondary data and primary data. Also, the next study needs to consider the impact of demographic variables like age, gender, and income on customer satisfaction levels. I think that's all for the for this um, paper. I think I have to stop share my screen. Thank you.
Nice presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chocolate Chidal.
Just I want to ask one question. Have you used only one algorithm, SVM algorithm, or have you done any comparison with another algorithms?
Oh well, so from I'm sorry. Uh, can I repeat your question? You said that I only use one algorithm. Is it true?
Yes. Am I audible to you? Am
Okay,
I
so
audible?
the algorithms used in this paper is two, are two, the knife bias and the superfactor machine. So in here we compare both the two classification algorithms. Okay, the algorithms is exactly one. It's about the classification, but we compare about the knife bias and the superfactor formation, and then we can find that the accuracy is gonna be better if you use superfactor formation for the classification and the comparison of the performance metrics.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Now,
Thank you, Miss Anissa.
yeah, moving on to the next one. We have Priyanka B. Phole with the paper title Enhanced Net Rethinking Model Scaling for Convolution Neural Network. Ma'am Priyanka, you may start with your presentation now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here to give you the presentation on convolution neural network, enhanced net. Now I'm going to share my screen. Actually, there is a problem. And
Share your screen.
yes, I'm sharing my screen now.
Ma'am Priyanka, if you're facing any issue, you can take your time and resolve it. Meanwhile, we can take the next one as we have limited time here.
Wait, ma'am. Wait 1 minute. Ma'am, is it visible now?
No.
But here it is saying to me. Ma'am, is it visible now?
No, not yet. Okay, so you can do one thing, just share me your PPT in the chat box. I'll share it on your behalf. Meanwhile, we can take the next one, and after that, you can present your paper, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. PPT display.
Yeah. So next one, we have Adrian with the paper title Identification of Special Characteristics During Product Development Phase of an Automotive Head Unit Product.
Hello.
Yes, you may begin with your paper presentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me if you see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. So today I will speak about the identification of the special characteristics during product development phase for an automotive head unit product. In this way, I will make a short introduction on the subject, and then I will talk about the special characteristic in the context of ergonomics, as well as in the context of product development phase. Then I will propose an process with clear steps to identify the special characteristics. And also I'll propose a model about a head unit type of product in terms of special characteristics identification and the management way during development phase. Okay, just a second. Okay, now, as a short introduction, we know very well that nowadays the requirements for sustainability become more and more important in all industries, as well as in automotive industry. So the companies need to achieve these requirements, and to do that, they need to identify what is relevant for their products in terms of special characteristics. To understand better the concept of special characteristics, in this slide we can see that basically we have two major types of special characteristics. We have significant ones and critical ones. When we are talking about the significant characteristics, we have basically the concept of so-called 4F, fit, form, function, and performance. So anything that is relevant in terms of fit, form, function, and performance for the final assembly is a significant characteristic. When we are talking about the critical ones, basically we are speaking about the characteristics that has an impact in safety and legal compliance. the whole analysis represents basically prevention methods for the organization to reduce the risks and liabilities for their products. Now, if we are speaking about the special characteristics in the context of ergonomics, we have to understand a bit, let's say, the ergonomics concept for the automotive industry. So in this way, the ergonomics represents basically in the context of vehicle safety, it aims to reduce the risks of accidents by ensuring that the driver has a comfortable environment to drive the car. I mean here all the environment that helps the driver to reduce the fatigue, to reduce the discomfort, and also to make the let's say the entire journey, especially on long distances, more easily to be performed. Okay, now ergonomics in automotive could have also an impact in what we called, let's say, customer satisfaction by making the interaction of human machine or optimizing the interaction human machine, and also to let's say enhance the concept of safety, comfort, and performance of the car. In the next slide, I will present a few categories of products and those special characteristics of special features that could be let's say developed to enhance this concept of product safety in the context of ergonomics of the car. If we are talking about the car seats, then nowadays we have a lot of systems to manage the seats in the car. We talk about electrical adjustment, we talk about heating, cooling, also about position memory and many other functions. All these aspects are considered characteristics for the special characteristics for that product, and they are relevant also for the ergonomics concept. We talk about, for example, steering wheel with the same adjustments, or with the integrated navigation controls and so on. We're talking about dashboards and central console with digital displays, touch screens, voice control, and so on. All these functionalities are developed in automotive industry, and they are special characteristics. We talk about pedals and driver assistance systems. This is just a part of what we can say integrate in the concept of ergonomics in the automotive industry. In the next slide, I will talk about product development phase, and for that I have to introduce, let's say, the two biggest philosophies for product lifecycle management in automotive industry. The first one is the APQP model. Which basically consists in 5 big steps. We have the planning, we have the product design and development, we have the process design and development, product and process validation, and the production phase. This product lifecycle management is basically the philosophy from North America. They are using this APQP model. On the other hand, we have in Europe VDA, MLA, maturity level assurance, which basically consists in 7 big steps. In both philosophies, they are integrated this step of identification of the special characteristics. But now in the automotive industry is a big, concern in this moment, because the concept of product safety as well, and also the legislation in the European Union, at least, is becoming more and more frequently updated, and the requirements are more often changed, and automotive industry has to adapt quickly to what means product conformity with the legal requirement and also with the customer requirements. For that, the automotive organization needs to have a process for special characteristic identification, and I can say that in this moment most of the companies or the organization automotive industry have or has let's say big issues or lack of performance in what means identification of the special characteristics. So my proposal, or our proposal for for these organizations is to have a process for special characteristics defined basically in 5 big steps. We have the step of planning the activity. What does it mean? Basically, you have to define the milestones, to define the team that is involved in that activity, and also to define the deliverables and what you need to achieve at the end of the activity and of course during the way. Then you have to collect the information. What means collect the information? In automotive industry, you have a lot of source of requirements. We have customer specific requirements. We have other customer requirements, product related. We have internal know-how, lessons learned, and legal requirements. All these sources have to be analyzed and extracted from them what is relevant for safety and for performance of the car. So basically to define which characteristic is critical and which one is significant. And basically this analysis is a risk management thinking. Yeah. What happens if that requirement is not implemented, which is the risk for the driver, for the public in general, and also for the final assembly. Then you have to transfer all this information in for further processing, yeah, because we are not stopping here. We have to go further and transfer all those information in DFMEA, to transfer them to suppliers, also to validation planning, and also to maybe transfer them for different testing and maybe other activities. And the most one of the most important things is to document all these activities, document the result. The key message here is that this analysis is or can be performed or shall be performed, better said, through a cross-functional approach. In the next slide, I will propose a model for a head unit type of products. Okay. Okay. So basically, in this model, we identify the special characteristics that could have that could be available or present in a head unit product. The type of characteristic, the relevance for product safety, functional safety, cybersecurity, the domains affected by that special characteristics, the relevance for FMEAs, the FMEA rating, the root of that requirement, even if a law or a customer requirement, the validation test, if it's needed for that specific requirement, system software test, and if it's relevant for supplier or not. Okay, I don't want to go in each detail because we have a lot of information here, but basically, shortly speaking, we have special characteristics relevance for rear view camera, for switch on time, switch off time, for total energy consumption, for e-call, for EMC measurements, as well as for batteries, for cybersecurity, and so on. Okay. This was from my side. Now, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Ma'am, if you have any questions.
Yes.
So this is our ongoing, this project is going on.
This is a part of my research. It's part of my PhD research because I want to develop let's say a management system for product safety and conformity in automotive industry. Because here, even if you have requirements now, we don't have clear standards or best practices for product safety and conformity in automotive industry. So this is what I want to develop, and this is part of my my work, let's say, for my PhD.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, Ma'am Priyanka, if you're ready with your presentation, I'll be sharing your PPT.
Yes, ma'am. I am ready
Okay.
with my presentation. Should I start my video also?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here to give you the representation on enhanced net rethinking model scaling for convolution neural network. Next slide. First of all, I would like to give you introduction. See, convolution neural network we are using for our image enhancement, for medical purpose we are using, then for to get the detailed knowledge of image. For example, if any operation is there or any cancer patients, at that time we want to get the uh, detailed image. For that, we are using the convolution neural network. So next slide. So first of all, I would like to tell about the convolution neural network. It's a type of deep learning where you can analyze visual imaginaries. You can adapt automatically the hierarchy patterns or feature is there that can be adapted. So computer vision, computer graphic is also we are using in it to get image efficiently, to get the clear resolution of the image. So here we can use the convolution neural network. Next slide. So it's a simple architecture of it. See here we are getting the input. It's in input there is an image. From that image we can get the convolutional layer is there. So in this layer filters are there. So this filter will analyze it, and then there is a pooling layer. That pooling layer will also analyze it, and then we'll get the final output. So in this we can help it for the convolution neural network. So next slide. So see, their input was there. For example, the input is a 3D car model. So from that 3D card model, we'll get one image. Okay, then that image or one part of that image, then there will be a layer of it. So we can calculate the, we can see the detail of that image, and then there is a convolution layer. Again, that pulling layer will be there, and we'll get to identify that the image is of car. So computer will get to know that the image is of car image. Next slide, please. So importance is that we'll get the efficiency, more efficiency and faster we can analyze it. Then overfitting or improving the model ability, we can do it. Flexibility is also there. Efficiency is also there. Scalability is also there. So we can improve the scalability. So in summary, we can tell that model scaling in convolution neural network optimizes efficiency, flexibility, and energy usage is also less. Next slide. So see again a next image that this is a feature of this bird. So it will analyze it. It will pull that image and then fully connected. Then we'll get to know that the image is of the bird. So it's another example of that. Next slide. Its next example is of snakes also. So convolution error, it will activate, suppose we'll get the image of that small part of the snake. So it will extract its feature. And then by filtering it, we'll get to know that it is a snake. Or if there is any disease, then also we'll get to know that the snake is having any disease. Next slide. So how we can do it? We can use it by changing the width of the channel, or by changing the depth of the channel, or by improving the resolution, or in general we can do all these three things in one thing only. So in we can do the high resolution or depth width. In same thing also we can do it. Next slide. So here I have given the explanation about the width, depth, and resolution. So we can increase the number of channels or increase the number of filter so that the width can be increases, or by increasing the layer we can increase the depth, or by modifying the input size or adjusting the network size we can improve the resolution. So in this way we can do it more efficiently and we can increase the performance model. Next slide. So here is some models which we can efficiently. B0 is there, B6, B1, B2, B3, B4, B7. So till now the B7 is having the high accuracy. So we can compare it and then we can get the result. Accuracy will be of top level. Next slide. So what is the scope? So we can resolution is enhancements is there, or multi-scaling we can do. we can increase the efficiency or scalability can be increased. Then fine tuning we can adopt. So in this way we can do with practical deployment we can do, and we can increase the technique efficiency. Next slide. So here are some my literature survey. See, in this literature survey, there was an abnormality of retinal fundus scans in the eye scanning. So there was an eye problem. So by using the convolution neural network, it was able to identify the scanning of this. So there are many more examples. We can do it in medical field also. There is many more examples. Next slide. This paper was also there of artificial ANN multi-layers, which are breast cancer diagnosis they have done by using the CNN. So research comparing two methods they have done, and by that they have calculated the most efficiency disease, and we can just diagnose it by using the CNN. Next slide. So here are some comparisons result: efficient net B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7. So from here we can do the comparison, and till now we are getting B7 as a more comparative technique or more good technique for this accuracy. Next slide. Next slide. So objective for this paper is to improve the efficiency. By increasing the depth, width or height or resolution, we can increase the efficiency. Or we can do the balance model scaling by including depth. Then we can robustness we can do, and also we can adopt it with the various factors, so to increase the efficiency. Next. So application is that autonomous driving will be there, image enhancement can be there, we can detect the object, then medical we can do it, then image will be classified as saw uh, already told you in the second or third slide that snake, it's a identification of that image object that it was a snake or that bird. So in this we can do this application. Next slide. So here also see, this is a fundus image that I told in the literature survey that application was there. So in this way we can apply it. We have taken the image of that fundus, and then through this computer we can classify it, and then recognize deep learning. With the help of deep learning we can identify it that it is having the fundus disease. Next slide. So these are my references for the paper. Next slide. Next slide. So thank you. If any questions you want to ask, then you can ask.
Okay. Good presentation. Just I want to ask one thing. In the title, you have mentioned
Yes, ma'am.
rethinking model. So
Yes, ma'am.
rethinking, that is, can you elaborate what is rethinking? You have mentioned.
Ma'am, actually, many scholars have already thought about it. That it means enhance efficient net. So I am working on enhanced net. So all most of the scholar have just done research. Again, I am also doing research. So I have given the title about rethinking.
Acha, means there is no just rethinking that you are thinking. That's why you are given
Yes,
it as a
ma'am.
rethinking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Then how many layers you are using here in this layer?
Ma'am, we can use many layers.
And how many you are
Means,
using? You are showing the results, no?
uh, m- ma'am, that the result was of my that was not of my result. It was only a research that everyone has done. That result is there. Now I'm working on it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving on to the next one. We have Megha B. Patel with the paper title Machine Learning Algorithms and Extensive Survey Applications and Future Research Directions. Ma'am Megha, you may start with your presentation.
Okay, now I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so is my screen visible now?
Yes,
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 it's visible.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm giving my presentation on machine learning algorithms and extensive survey applications and future research directions. So first, we will see what is the objective for this research paper. So in the current age of the fourth industrial revolution, that is Industry 4.0, the digital world has a wealth of data such as IoT data, cybersecurity data, mobile data, business data, social media data, then health data, etc. So to intelligently analyze this data and develop corresponding smart and automated applications, the knowledge of the artificial intelligence, particularly the machine learning, is the key. So the primary objective of this survey is to provide a comprehensive overview of key machine learning algorithms, highlighting their characteristics, strength, and application areas. So basically, this survey aims to summarize the core algorithms so that will offer detailed description of major machine learning algorithms, including supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning to help the researchers and practitioners understand their foundational principles. Then second is guide the algorithm selection. So it facilitates decision making by comparing different algorithms and enabling researchers to choose appropriate method based on problem specific requirements. The next one is it provides theoretical insight without focusing on the implementation, and it contributes to the research. So first we will see the introduction, then that what is the machine learning. So machine learning algorithms are used by the numerous applications that we use on a daily basis. So Alan et al. In his research paper, Computing Machinery and the Intelligence, asked an important question that whether the machine thinks, can it be replaced with the whether machine do what we can do? So a noteworthy definition of machine learning results from this suggestion. So basically, a machine learning is a field of artificial intelligence that focus on developing the algorithms that allow computers to learn from and make the decisions based on data without being explicitly programmed. So now, how the machine learning works? So machine learning approaches often entail a learning process with the goal of performing tasks by learning from the experience, that is called training data. So once the model training phase concludes, the training model becomes capable of categorizing, predicting, or clustering the data. And that is also shown in the figure that the training data, it can be labeled or unlabeled, that is provided to the machine learning algorithm. Then after the training phase conclude, so based on the classification and prediction rule, whenever we are giving the new example, the machine learning model will predict the output. So in this way, the machine learning will work. Now, types of machine learning techniques. So machine learning is divided into three types: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Here in this paper, I have considered only few of the most important algorithms. So supervised learning is again further classified into classification and regression. And unsupervised is again further classified
Madam,
in.
Megha, madam, just
Yes,
have a full screen
okay.
presentation, full screen.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Yes.
now is it
Okay. Thank
okay?
you. Yes, yes.
Okay, so unsupervised learning is further classified into clustering, Then reinforcement learning is classified into decision making. So as I have told you that there are the machine learning is divided into three types: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So this is the overview of machine learning techniques. That supervised learning, it learns from the labeled data, focusing on the specific task. That's why it is called as task-driven approach. And examples of supervised algorithms are classification and regression. Then the second machine learning technique is unsupervised learning that learns from the unlabeled data and identifying the patterns. That's why it is called as data-driven approach. And the examples of unsupervised learning algorithms are clustering and association. Then after next is reinforcement machine learning technique. So in this technique, it learns through the interaction with an environment using rewards or penalties. And that's why it is called environment-driven approach. And the examples are classification and control. So first we will see classification algorithms. So the algorithm used in the machine learning classification approach divide the data into predetermined classes or categories according to the input feature. And one of the example of classification algorithm is the support vector machine. So SVM maximize the margin between the nearest data points known as the support vectors that are shown in the figure of each class, and the optimal hyperplane that effectively partition the data points into multiple classes. And the margin maximization improve the model's capacity to generalize to unknown data. The second algorithm is naive Bayes. So naive Bayes classifiers are used to solve the classification problems by assuming the predetermined predictors independence and applying Bayes theorem. And it computes the posterior probability P x given y representing the likelihood of event x given the event y using the given formula. And after that, this classifier predict the class with the highest probability based on the input feature. The next example is K nearest neighbor algorithm. So K nearest neighbor algorithm is a simple yet effective supervised learning method for both classification as well as regression problems. And it determines the data points class or value based on the majority vote or average of its K closest neighbor in the feature space. And K nearest neighbor is also called as lazy learning algorithm because it stored the entire training data set in the memory rather than requiring an explicit training phase. And the next example is random forest. So random forest is an effective and stable learning technique for classification and regression tasks. It builds a multiple decision trees where each tree is trained on a random subset of the data and the features, reducing the overfitting and enhancing model robustness. And the final prediction is made by aggregating the output of all the trees, either by taking the majority vote for classification, and for regression, it will be taking averaging. Now, second type is regression algorithms. So regression algorithms are machine learning models used to predict the continuous numerical values by identifying the relationship between input feature and the target variable. So the difference between classification and regression algorithm is that classification algorithm provide the discrete output. For example, if we consider if we want to identify the spam mail, then after there will be two classes, spam mail and not spam mail. While in regression algorithm, it focus on the continuous numerical values. The example is the pricing rate of house. First algorithm is linear regression, and linear regression is a widely used statistical method for predicting the relationship between dependent variable and one or more independent variable. So the mathematical expression is y is equals to mx plus b, where the x represent the independent variable and y represent the dependent variable. M is the slope and b is the interest. Next regression algorithm is decision tree. It is a model where the non-leaf node represent the feature and the leaf node contain the class labels. And it makes the prediction by splitting the data at each feature node and following the path towards the leaf node based on the input value that is shown in the figure.
I'm sorry
Next
to
is
interrupt,
the
ma'am.
neural.
You have completed your 10 minutes. Can you please conclude now?
Okay, so I'm switching towards the applications of the machine learning. So machine learning is, as we have seen that it is used in numerous applications. So the applications of machine learning are in healthcare, finance, e-commerce, manufacturing, transportation, natural language processing. So there are so many applications of machine learning available today. And the conclusion is, in the conclusion, this paper provides a comprehensive overview of machine learning algorithms and their pervasive role in everyday technology, such as personalized shopping recommended system and the social media updates. So despite significant advancement, challenges related to the data quality and relevance persist. However, ongoing improvements in the data and algorithm development continue to drive progress, offering a promising future for the field of machine learning. And the research directions are future work could focus on the hybrid models, enhancing the existing techniques or developing new methods. So ultimately, the success of the machine learning solution depends on both quality of the data and the chosen algorithm. And the poor data quality can render the models ineffective, emphasizing the importance of proper data processing and algorithm selection for building intelligent applications. So these are my references. Thank you.
Megha, madam,
Yes,
am I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Just you did the literature survey. You don't have any results for this, na?
No, ma'am. Actually, this is my first survey paper. So I have only focused on the theoretical methods and the fundamental of different machine learning algorithms.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation. So moving further to the next one, now we have Tatiana Antipova with the paper title Use of ICT for Performance Evaluation in Public Administration. Ma'am Tatiana, you can begin your paper presentation.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello?
you are audible now.
I'm sorry. It's just a little bit. Oh, I need to open my presentation again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Uh, can you hear me and can you see my presentation?
Yes, yes. You are
Okay.
audible, madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to make my presentation on your conference. And my topic is use of IST for performance evaluation in public administration. Performance evaluation is a critical aspect of public administration. And my study concludes that while the digital age offers immense potential for the improvement of performance evaluation in public administration, it also poses a number of challenges, including issues related to data security, data protection, and accountability. As a result of this study, designed a system of indicators that enables the assessment of the activity of public administration. In general, digitalization, including public administration, has a general view. Further implementation of information computer technology is possible only by joint effort of associated the business community and authorities. And this picture shows us that how our officials can choose some indicators for evaluation of public administration. But unfortunately, some officials sometimes choose indicators that easy to achieve to get more money from budget. And the basic principle of the indicator system, you can only manage what can be evaluated. As the result of analysis of many systems of performance indicators, the author proposes 4 areas of performance assessment. There are social performance evaluation, evaluation of direct output performance, evaluation of resource efficiency, and integral performance assessment. Let's consider each of these groups. Social performance evaluation can be divided on 3 groups. First of all, outcome determination, then consumer satisfaction, and then accessibility of services. Outcome determination based on the most common set of indicators came from worldly judgment. It's better to be rich and healthy than poor and sick. The use of IST will help to organize analytical work to access dynamic of indicators number and amount for long life period. Consumer satisfaction can be determined as a percentage of the respondents' number. Essentially, the level of satisfaction is often defined as the number of clients to the quality of the service rendered. And accessibility of services can be defined as the amount of excess of the average per capita volume of paid services. Evaluation of direct output performance divided on 3 elements as well. First of all, assessment of services quality. By evaluating this, it's necessary to ensure that the quality of services is constantly maintained at the proper level. And citizen recommendations can be found out by conducting surveys after services are provided. Secondly, assessment of duration and timelines of services. Can be defined by tariffication of each services, and then government portals and the websites of all other federal ministries and local administrations should provide easy to use and advanced search capabilities to find the information they need. Citizens need. When assessing dynamism, it's necessary to proceed from the principle of assuming continuity of activity of the budget recipients. And as a result of minimizing contacts between the consumer and the official and reducing the time required for processing documents, the cost of the service was reduced by 40%. The one window principle and strict deadlines for processing documentation with the new approach make it possible to decrease the corruption of officials. Evaluation of resource efficiency divided on 3 elements as well. And first of all, funding adequacy is determined from the report on the execution of the budget by comparing the planned and in fact received amount. The result of the efficiency of assets use can be defined as the share of budget recipients whose asset management system meet the approved formalized requirements. And finally, human capital is an essential basis for effective management of any organization. Management must consider human capital as the most important resource. To achieve this, human capital management practices must include establishing appropriate hiring practices, creating a handbook, training, evaluating, recommending, promoting, etc. And finally, integral performance assessment consists of adequacy of governance and comprehensive performance review. For adequacy of governance, there are two possible strategies for selecting the main objectives of public administration: a strategy of eliminating bottlenecks and strategy of not missing opportunities. And comprehensive performance review should be evaluated by the basis of data measurement from a large number of secondary sources. And budget users must evaluate all their activities in serving the population in accordance with current law. Actually, we formed these indicator systems using rich practical and theoretical authors' experience as a result of many scientific projects and previous publications. This system of indicators can significantly help improve the assessment of the administration in terms of resource management and decision made. The paper concluded with the outline of the way forward for public administration to make effective use of information computer technology to improve performance evaluation in the digital age. Thank you for your attention. Any questions, please? No questions?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. So now we have the very first presenter available in the session. So we'll be taking up his presentation. Yeah. So I call for Peter Sabe with the paper title, A Strategy for Securing Local Data Access in Highly Secure Software.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'll share my screen now. Just a moment. Today I'll present my work strategy for securing local data access in highly secure software. First, I'll start with the introduction. Yesterday, I presented a paper where I explained what a highly secure software is. So I will briefly outline the concept. This is a security reliable software that is built upon a strong security architecture, ensuring a much higher level of security compared to a general purpose software. It is typically related to meeting a number of security requirements and additional security mechanisms that are typically not present in general purpose software. Next, I will say briefly what is the motivation behind the current work. Since there's a number of security guidelines and also recommendations, they were briefly overviewed as part of the paper. However, despite this, they're not always implemented correctly. Because of this, my previous work has provided a proof of concept showing development of custom attacks and exploits against the latest versions of existing software. And related to this, in my previous paper, that was for defining anti-patterns for local data protection in highly secure software. It was it raised the topic and some security concerns that needs to be addressed. The current paper presents solutions for part of the issues identified as part of the previous work. In common words, the motivation is that it was identified need for a more robust approach for securing local data access in highly security environments. And the goal here is to define a multi-layered security strategy that addresses a large part of the security issues identified. And also this strategy and its approaches to help software engineers to build software that is more secure. The paper provides overview of some built-in security features of modern operation systems and also advances in data extraction tools and techniques. It covers the popular operating systems like Android, Linux, Windows, and etc. The main focus here is on the mobile operating systems because they are typically related. They require more security measures because of the challenges related to them and the specifics of mobile devices that are held in public places and so on. The challenges are related to code boot attacks, memory extraction, and other sophisticated attacks. In the next slides, I'll provide examples just of two of them. The first popular attack is shoulder surfing. It is attack that is typically takes place in public places, like, for example, public transportation. It is depicted here when people wear phones on public places and needs to process some sensitive information on their device. There is a chance someone behind them to see what they're typing or reading on their screens. The other such attack is related to remote cameras, security cameras, and so on. It is very similar to the first one, but it is related mainly to the not human, but instead cameras. Countermeasures, there are technologies like AMD privacy view and gaze contingent user interfaces that dynamically masks non-focused area of the screen. Also, there are patents that are currently being issued and developed, but there are many open issues remaining, and many of them are related to e-tracking accuracy algorithms. That means the user have limited control of what is visible on screen and whether the e-tracking algorithm will actually track his is correctly and will unhide the area it currently looks without allowing for sensitive data to be leaked. To address this and the other security concerns that I've skipped, the paper proposes a multi-layered security strategy that is depicted here. it suggests development of three modules. The first one is responsible for in-memory data protection. It addresses attacks like code boot attacks, fully compromisation of underlying operating system, where arbitrary malware is able to read and sniff in memory. This module consists of custom implementation of memory dynamic memory pool, and here one of the main challenges was that for Android, that is the platform selected for the development of reference implementation that we'll discuss later, and we'll show you in brief in action. It consists of the challenge related to garbage collection. In Android, Java is the main programming language. That means we have a garbage collector that prevents us from securely erasing operating memory and wiping sensitive data from it. Related to this, this strategy suggests roles and approaches to handle this situation. The other two modules are secure data visualization module and secure inter-process communication and data leakage prevention module. And they are responsible, first secure data visualization module is responsible to reveal only the information that is actually used and needed for the user, without allowing for example, someone who is behind the user that is reading currently the screen to see what is on the screen. Secure inter-process communication data linkage prevention module is responsible to ensure secure inter-process communication. Typical example for this is a digital vault application, or simply a password manager, where one application must securely transfer sensitive information like user credentials to another application. They should have encryption protocol on which the two parties should authenticate itself, and this module is responsible for ensuring this. On the next slide, I provided a brief description of what I explained on the diagram, but we'll skip them in order to be in time. We'll skip to the reference implementation, and we will discuss what is achieved. It is an implementation of a prototype of Android Vault application that is expected to handle sensitive data. The security features that were covered by this prototype are secure allocations and wiping of memory, UI controls for user-defined visibility and dynamic masking of sensitive data, and prevention of third-party screen capture via Android APIs. There are also another security feature, but for brevity, I will skip them for now. These are some of the public interfaces. Here is on the figure 1 is presented the DS memory pool interface. It is responsible for dynamic memory allocations in such a way to that garbage collector, the underlying garbage collector, does not affect security aspects of the data. Here I mean all of the aspects related to copy and swap and other algorithms used in garbage collector that typically makes a lot of copies of sensitive data that are hard to erase from memory and wipe it effectively. Here it is used a combination of native C++ implementation and Java interface, and more specifically Kotlin, because for the implementation of prototype was used Kotlin as a primary language. It has two main methods. These are allocate method, which is responsible for allocating memory, and deallocate. Here on the figures, it has also the deallocate fast and allocate fast methods that I can explain later. But the device itself has security hardware which has some constraints from performance standpoint, and related to this, in the application there are several levels of security controls. I'll show them later on pictures, and depending on what security is needed, the allocations are made so that the application meet user needs regarding his security expectations. On the next figure here is presented main user control that is responsible for for providing the user an ability to enter the text in the application that are the text fields that are typically used by the user to enter his passwords, bank cards, or another sensitive information. And here on the left is the hierarchy that is used to represent a char sequence. Here here in the application, it cannot be used the default string implementation that comes with the Java or Kotlin because of the issues related to garbage collection. Because of this, it was needed to re-implement the whole concept of char sequence and string, and this is in Brive the interface we read. On the next diagram, it is showed the sequence of main activities in the process of serializing the information. Android itself has life cycle events that when take a place, it is needed for information to be protected in order to not leak outside the digital valued process. That means we need to encrypt the data in real time before it is transferred to the operating system in order to be ensured that even if the operating system itself is compromised, the risk for the data is lowered. And it will be much harder for a potential attacker to take advantage of this. Here is how it looks like in an implementation. And it is the screen where user registers his account. As it can be seen on the pictures. Each data the user enters is encrypted in real time, and also it has control what to be visible and what to be editable or not. Only the currently active field is editable. All other fields are locked out automatically, and they are also encrypted with providing authenticity and confidentiality of the data. Here is provided a picture showing what happens when, for example, screen rotation event happens that is related to operating system underlying concept of serialization and deserialization and activity recreation. And this is also covered by the current implementation. And here I'll explain the future plan to work. And if there is a time, I'll show in very short demonstration of the application. The future work plan is to validate the strategy in different environments and again against different diverse threats. Here the current implementation addresses a large part of the issues identified, but there are also some issues that remains valid and needs a solution. There is currently ongoing work on this, and during this testing, it is planned if something other is identified as a security issue to be addressed later as part of the next iteration. Also, it is planned to perform a comparative security analysis in order to compare the current implementation with existing ones and to provide results showing in terms of security how the current implementation provides better security than the current solutions, and also to conduct investigation to further refine the strategy. Also, another important aspect for future work is to perform performance benchmarks. Currently, as I said previously, the secure hardware, the underlying secure hardware has some limitations, and actually these limitations are required to be implemented different than trivial solutions. And related to this, it is important to be measured how this exactly affects the usage of the application. For application that is, for example, digital valued, where the data is not so large. For example, passwords are limited in length and the performance is not so important. But for example, if the strategy is used for medical database or another application that works with large data sets, it is important to optimize it to be applicable for these scenarios too. In conclusion, the proposed strategy is a multi-layered approach to security that addresses a large part of the previously identified issues. And this strategy is validated through the reference implementation that shows it is actually applicable and can be used in real software application. And thank you for your attention. I'm open to questions, and if there is a time, I can show in brief the application in action.
Nice presentation, Peter.
Thank you.
Good.
If there is time, yes, just in several seconds. This is the application main interface, and just to move this.
Demonstration.
Yes, this is a demonstration of the application. I'll be very short, just the few first screens. Here we have biometric authentication. When a user tries to create his own vault, it is bound to a secure hardware and it needs his biometrics. Here, when the biometrics are authorized and the user has access to the next part of the application, here he can enter his details, for example, first name. And we have also real-time validation here. As you can see, the data is masked as it is typed, and if I switch the field to enter the next name, it is automatically encrypted. This is the reason why here we see a lot of more dots instead of the 4 signs that I was previously typed. Here it is used randomized encryption, and this is to protect and not review how long exactly is the data entered. Also, now proceed with the next field. So, for example, we'll enter some data here, and we'll start to enter data, and we'll trigger a rotation, which will trigger the auto-lock security mechanism. Here we see that our fields are locked, and for example, if a phone is rotated and left on the table, the user that takes the phone does not know what exactly is on the screen. And this is first type of security measure. It also has a next level security that doesn't allow user to, even if authenticated authenticated with his fingerprint to see the data as it is currently. Just as I promised to be brief, if you have any questions, you can ask, or I can continue with this.
Good work, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the session. And I sincerely thank all our authors for their excellent presentation and contribution in the session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough for you all. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this third version and all the previous second versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the fourth version in 2025. Although presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days, further, all the papers have already forwarded to Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months, so kindly cooperate with the team of ISBM 2024. I'd also like to thank our session chair, Dr. Chaya Jadhav. Thank you for your valuable presence, ma'am. Would you like to give a closing remarks to all the participants?
Thank you. Thank you, Anisha. And thank you for inviting for this session. And all the participants, they have presented very nicely. Innovative topics were there. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I just request everyone to please switch on your cameras for a quick snapshot. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. We
Thank
just
you,
got
everyone.
one query. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just resolve the query we have from Kamya Sharma.